On December 19th, Monday, a group of the Electoral College will come together and vote on whether or not to elect Donald J. Trump to the President of the United States. As a group of rogue electorates are beginning to step aside and say that they are not going to cast their votes for Donald Trump, one wonders what might happen in that process. This is part one of a two-part series on the Trump White House and the illegitimacy of this president-elect. If you're a Trump supporter, I encourage you to listen to all of this and, hell, give me your feedback. I'd like to know why you think I'm wrong. Part one, the illegitimacy of Donald J. Trump and his administration. Part two, the Electoral College and why it is totally fucked no matter what they do on December 19th. Make sure you come back. If you want to get part two, you're going to need to subscribe to the show itself. And you can do that pretty much on any platform you use the show. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and majorityvillain.com. And email me, Greg, at majorityvillain.com. Enjoy the show. This is Majority Villain. What's up, villains? It is so good to be here with you today, wherever that is, wherever you are right now. I don't know what you're doing. Maybe you're doing something really, really important. Or maybe you're doing some BS job. And listening to the sound of my voice is the only thing that gets you through the day. Or maybe you're at home and, you know, the lights went out and you have no access to television and you already have this saved on your phone or device, and so you just thought maybe I'll listen to that instead. Whatever it is, I'm just so glad that you're hearing this, and I'm just pumped to be a part of your daily routine in some small portion. This is, of course, Majority Villain. I'm your host, Greg Haddock. It is just a week or so before Christmas. I hope everybody's looking forward to the time with family and friends. Hopefully you have time with family and friends. It seems like more and more, you know, like it's just harder to say get away from work or to everybody to be on the same schedule. I mean, nobody has really like a traditional family anymore. So probably you have like 6 houses to visit. Maybe somebody's working Christmas Eve late or even Christmas Day. Oh, you have my sympathy to the fullest effect, believe me. Wherever you are today, wherever you are during this holiday season, and maybe it's not Christmas, maybe it's Hanukkah, maybe it's Kwanzaa, maybe you're looking forward to January, sometime for the new Chinese New Year, whatever it is. Wherever you are at this moment, reflect on what's going on in Syria. It looks like Assad is going to put this thing to rest, but I can't imagine it's going to be good things for the people of Syria. Look what's happened in Turkey. You know, like tens of thousands of people arrested. It's going to be really tough. I mean, there's been a bunch of videos online you can find without a whole lot of effort of people in eastern Aleppo this last week posting their final goodbyes. People have been posting to Twitter and other social media accounts, from the front lines. And you're not going to see those anymore. These people are either going to be killed, arrested, or disappeared, or worse. Who knows? There's just absolutely no place in the 21st century for war, in my opinion. And awful. Absolutely awful what's going on. So I'm hoping this is kind of one of the last times that we focus on the Trump presidency. At least until the inauguration. I'm sure it's going to come up again. I don't know. The next 4 years, it's going to be hard to talk about anything else. Now, before you turn this off or say, Oh, Jesus Christ, Greg, not anymore. Serenity now. I get it. Either you're tired of hearing about Trump, which I am too, and his cabinet picks, which I'd really like to focus on a little bit, or you're tired of being told, you know what, you're just a flat-out racist. You're just a racist, man, because you voted for Trump. I get it. I get that there are reasons why people did it, why people voted for Trump. For example, Keith Taylor, okay, relative of mine, a friend of mine, a person I totally respect and love and adore, very far into the spectrum as far as I am on political ideologies, but a man I respect with the utmost degree, wrote to me after the election, I voted for this jackass because I'm sick of the establishment. I'm sick of the neoliberal elite looking down on their collective nose at me and my people as if we weren't just as intelligent or educated as they are. I'm sick of paying for their guilt trip programs by working my ass off while they sit back and stare in contempt at the mud on my boots. This is how blue-collar workers riot. We don't just burn down the neighborhood. We burn down the whole goddamn system. They cannot marginalize the majority and expect us not to react. Rome is burning, and the firefighters are on strike. I thought that was brilliant, Keith. Thanks for sharing that with me and allowing me to share it with the audience. I understand that. I get that. This is the exact reason why I did not vote for Clinton. I was not in any way going to find myself voting for Trump. That was not in the cards whatsoever. But I get that. There's an absolute frustration about the fact that all of our politicians don't really represent us at all. There was a famous study out of Princeton that Represent Us, one of my favorite organizations, bipartisan organizations, has run with, saying that the bottom 90% of income earners, right? So only the top 10%, the bottom 90% of income earners in the United States have absolutely zero impact on what legislation gets passed in Congress. But if you are in the top 10%, and even more so in the top 1%, or the top 1% of 1%, or the top 10th of 1%, right? The more higher up you go on this hierarchy of who's got the biggest dick syndrome, the more likely you are to have your efforts passed, the legislation that you and your friends are looking to pass. That's how it works. So our politicians, we all hate them. We hate them so much because they tell us that they're here for our best interest, and they tell us that they're doing things with us in mind. But we see over and over again that they just represent the interest of other people, irrespective of what's going on in their own communities or their constituencies. That is the absolute opposite of what a democracy is. Now, people say, oh, well, we don't have a democracy, we have a republic. Yeah, a republic is people that are voted to make decisions on your behalf. Is this on your behalf? And so when we have a system that continually puts corporate profits over its people, or continually allows other people to just kind of skate by, it's extremely frustrating. Now, the question is, who are the people that are skating by? Because it's Arlie Hochschild, the famous sociologist. She went down and she did, the name of her book is escaping me right now, but was spending some time in Louisiana asking Trump voters, Trump Nation, what are you doing? And a lot of them told her, you probably think I'm racist. She had to go and really talk to people, sit with people so that they could let their guard down a little bit. Because a lot of people who came out and voted for Trump, I'm sure you're not racist. I'm sure you're just extremely frustrated with the way things have played out. I get that. That makes sense to me. And these people over and over again, they said to her that they were tired of seeing people cut in line, that they've seen their wages fall, they've seen their savings dwindle, that it's harder to have the same lifestyle from 30, 40 years ago. Today, people are working just as hard or harder Production is up. That's confusing. Production is up, but wages are down. And seeing things like Black Lives Matter. Now, okay, for my liberal friends, my liberal audience, let's step outside of ourselves for a moment, okay? Boy, that's a tough thing to do, isn't it? Because on one side, you've got 400 years of slavery, redlining, Jim Crow laws, voting restrictions, poll taxes. There is no question that the black community and communities of color are in fact, or have been in fact, historically disadvantaged. There is no question about it. We cannot argue that point anymore. But now you have these people saying, really, come on, step outside of yourselves and think about this for a moment, okay? Affirmative action, for example, although that's not really something that's on the radar of a lot of people these days. You're seeing. Why are we having this conversation where we're trying to allow more space for black people when white people, white working class people have been working just as hard, if not harder, and are getting less and less? While there's evidence to be seen of people of color doing better in those communities. We have a black president, after all. I don't think these people are ignorant enough to say, of course, that's the end of racism because we have a black president. Some people say that. I don't think that's representative of the entire Trump establishment, the entire Trump voter base. It's a tough line to tread. But let's think about that for a second. Is it really people of color? Is it really Mexicans coming across the border that have made it harder for you? Is that really where your wages have gone? Is that really where the jobs have gone? Donald Trump was absolutely right when he said that NAFTA was a disaster. And he's absolutely right to say that he's not going to support the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, something that Hillary Clinton had worked very hard to do, that Barack Obama had worked very hard to support, to fast track through Congress, to make it an undemocratic process. Those are bad policies. They're bad policies because they destroy efforts for the working class. They put profits in the pockets of corporations. That's where we need to come back to. The profits of corporations. Maybe that's where your money has gone. Maybe that's where it's going. The statistics don't support the idea that communities of color are doing so much dramatically better than white communities, which are slowly becoming a, quote, minority in America. It's not supported. So let's just take a look at that for a minute, okay? Here's Donald Trump. He comes along. He says, I'm going to drain the swamp. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to put a bunch of outsiders into the White House, into my cabinet, and we're going to make things rock and we're going to make them roll, right? Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, the chairman of ExxonMobil, after 4 decades with oil ties to Vladimir Putin in Russia. This is the Secretary of State. This is the guy that's going to take over John Kerry's position. This is by far the highest diplomat in American politics. A company that found out that climate change was happening in their own research back in the 60s and 70s. And then brought on tobacco lawyers in order to find out how best to create this atmosphere of doubt that it's not a real issue. It's not a real problem. Yes, he's going to do great things for America. He's going to make America great again. What about James Mattis for Defense Secretary? He's a Marine Corps general. He hasn't served. He hasn't been out of the military for more than 3 years. That's the 7 year is the minimum, because we don't want our military, an undemocratic institution, taking over our civilian democratic institution, that is politics. A guy whose nickname was Mad Dog. Yeah, that's the guy I want. What about CIA Director Mike Pompeo? A guy who said that we should execute Edward Snowden. You don't like big government? You don't like big government spying on you? Edward Snowden did you a fucking favor. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin. Hello, Goldman Sachs executive. This isn't draining the swamp. This is the fucking swamp. All he's doing is eliminating the middlemen, which happen to be politicians today. Politicians today don't serve our interests. And liberals need to wake up to that too. Republicans already showed that they do. That's why they nominated Donald Trump. That's why they elected him in November. Because they're ready to burn the fucking house down. They're ready to close this shop up and do something different, anything different. But you're not going to get that by putting a Goldman Sachs executive at the Treasury Secretary. How about Attorney General Jeff Sessions from Alabama? A guy who said he thought the Ku Klux Klan was okay until he found out that they smoke pot. That's probably the only cool thing they do. Andrew Puzder, for Secretary of Labor, the CEO of Carl's Jr. and Hardee's, which, by the way, same fucking restaurant. I don't know why that's different. A guy who thinks 5 for 15 is stupid. Yes, because people can afford to live off of $15,000 a year. Because we can just push those people onto government programs. Because in America, we socialize the loss for corporations, and they can privatize the gains. That's what we do. This one blows my mind. Secretary of Energy, Rick Perry? Rick Perry he doesn't know his ass from his elbow. Rick Perry's an idiot, and anybody who's listened to him talk for more than 30 seconds knows that. Funny enough, Rick Perry's campaign manager was Kelsey Warren. Kelsey Warren is the CEO of Energy Transfer Partners, a group that donated to Donald Trump, that Donald Trump is invested in, and is trying to push through the Dakota Pipeline Access. The Dakota Access Pipeline. All the Native Americans and the wonderful, wonderful win that they just experienced. When a bunch of veterans, military veterans, came out and stood on the front lines, and that was finally the straw that broke the camel's back that sent President Obama coming out to say, okay, yeah, maybe it's been enough. Maybe it's time to shut this down. You can bet your ass that in January, Donald Trump is going to set shop up there again, and he's going to start pushing that goddamn pipeline through. You better believe it. It's happening. The largest gathering of Native Americans in any of our lifetime, and it means nothing. Absolutely nothing to our president-elect. Fantastic. Okay, how about this one? Housing and urban development, Ben Carson. Why? Urban development because he's black? Ben Carson, the famous bear whisperer. What? You gotta be joking. Ben Carson is a man who compares abortion to slavery and same-sex marriage to pedophilia. Yeah, those are real thoughts. Those are real things. If you believe those things, you should never even say them in public. You should never think them to begin with. But if you actually utter them on stage, on television, you should just be finished at that point. Environmental Protection Agency, Scott Pruitt, a guy who hates the Environmental Protection Agency. This guy's going to come in and all he's going to try to do is just shut it down. He's going to try to make it just fucking fall apart. Betsy DeVos for education, a woman who's worked her entire life to close down public schools and open up private ones. Again, the numbers don't support it. It doesn't work. Lindsey McMahon, Vince McMahon of World Wrestling Entertainment. It's going to be Small Business Administration. Okay, all right, hey, all right, sure. Yeah, why not? That one makes the most sense to me so far. Chief strategist, Steve Bannon. I don't even need to say anything about that at this point. Here's what's really frustrating me. Now, okay, and if I still have Trump supporters listening to me right now, I just want you to think about this for a second, okay? I got into a long debate with an acquaintance of mine after the election, okay? Now, this person searched me out to just troll on everything I was saying, right? And we were talking about how frustrated he is, right? Now, I'm going to keep him anonymous for the time being, okay? Now, he wrote here, right? Now, since I'm a white male, if I disagree with anything, I'm automatically a racist. Everyone here has the same opportunities. It's just some of us don't use those opportunities, and some of us don't. And the ones that don't are the ones that they're screaming disenfranchised discrimination, and they're being held down because of their skin color. And frankly, it's bullshit that people can cry and get their way. Okay. Talking about the crybabies who came out to protest Donald Trump, right? Okay, first off, if you don't like freedom of speech, then just burn the Bill of Rights. Just burn it. The greatest paradox of freedom of speech is freedom of speech itself. He's more than welcome to say these things, but you have to also afford the opportunity to people to go out and to say the exact same things in the street. So when we started talking about minorities, right, saying, oh, they do have the same sort of opportunities, I just simply asked, my question, okay, if somebody showed you evidence proof that per his example of Black Lives Matter, that they've been systematically disenfranchised from housing, jobs, voting, etc., could that ever change your mind about whether or not black people actually have a disadvantage in America? His words? No, you really couldn't. They really are not disenfranchised or discriminated. We had a black president for 8 years. That's the difference, okay? That's the difference, and that's a problem with everybody right now, it seems like. Have you changed your opinion on anything? When's the last time you actually brought in some new information and constructed your views around that? Have you evolved as a human? Or are you continuing to lug around the same club, beating over anybody who's smaller than you, and just avoiding the ones that are bigger? Now, that's not for me to just shit all over this person, this acquaintance of mine. We all need to do a better job of moving up, of changing, of developing, of questioning it. So when Trump's cabinet, right, this is from Quartz, when Trump's cabinet, 17 cabinet-level picks have more money than a third of American households combined. You want to know where your money is? Don't look at the minorities. Look at your new White House. All of the music used in today's show can be found at the Free Music Archive using Creative Commons licensing. If you'd like a list of today's contributors, you can check out the website, majorityvillain.com, or look at the show notes on the device that you're already using. If you found anything interesting or controversial and you want to let me know, email me, greg@majorityvillain.com, and maybe we'll use your comments on the show. I'd also like to heartily welcome Matthew Fournier, a new addition to the Villain family, the Majority Villain family, and the hard work that he's already been doing. So thanks, Matt. Welcome to the team. We wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, or Kwanzaa, or Hanukkah, or whatever it is you celebrate. We just hope it's a good one. Thanks so much for joining us, and just remember, status quos are for suckers. Peace to all.
Gotta be true to your love to love. Oh, oh, oh. Gotta be true to your love to love. to love. Oh, oh, oh. Gotta be true to your love to love. Oh, oh, oh. Gotta be true to your love to love. Oh, oh, oh. Gotta be true to your love to love. Oh, oh, oh.